Oh, yeah. Kaboom. Hello. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Trash Talk Experience. This is your boy, A-Bob. I'm here with my two buddies, Trey and Sun.
Buddies.
How are we today?
Bro.
I'm good.
Okay. Should I be saying you bro anymore?
Yeah, why?
Should we not? With respect to this topic, they, them is what we should
People don't know what the topic is yet, so like you have to be...
They'll know that from the title. They wouldn't be surprised.
True.
Come on.
We should not call us buddies. We should call each other with the correct pronouns.
What's your pronoun?
Them.
What's your pronoun?
I'm a Zer.
Zer. I don't know what mine is yet, but before we begin, I want to make a rule on the podcast.
Alright.
We're not doing a podcast with our shoes on. Okay.
Last episode, I couldn't make eye contact. I was just looking at my feet.
I was looking at my feet, bro.
Hold up. What's your favorite smell in the world?
Smell?
Yeah.
I don't know, roses or something.
Wet socks.
That's kind of gay, bro.
Put that down, bro. At least you got socks on, bro.
No,
I couldn't look at my feet, bro.
Man,
I was too distracted.
That was terrible.
We're going to be talking about the involvement of women and men in sports and the introduction of transgender athletes now in sports.
And this is a very sensitive and personal topic for my friend A-Bob over here.
Yes, it comes from the heart for me, this one.
Exactly.
Before we get into sort of the transgender stuff, because that's more tricky to talk
Do you want to
about.
introduce yourself before we get into the whole situation?
Tell us about your experience.
Yeah.
My name is A-Bob and I am a he. I identify as a he.
That's fine, man.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Like, whatever you identify, who am I to judge, man?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
There's a saying about, so I've been into mysticism lately.
In what?
Mysticism.
Mysticism.
Why?
And I think
Can you
I've...
explain what mysticism is? Because I know if I was listening to
Sounds
a podcast,
hocus
I don't know what the
pocus,
hell you're talking about.
Bro, I went to a creative arts high school. Don't ask me tricky questions. So I've been into like Asian culture and all them stuff. You know why?
Is that mystic?
No, that is mistake. So one thing I learned from Buddhism was this is saying by Buddha. Shit, I'm on pressure now. But why you don't make eye contact, man?
No, think
So
about
Buddha
it. Think about it.
So
We have
Buddha
time.
said one thing that kind of changed my perspective on gender, sex, everything.
Yeah.
In particular, a woman without penis is like angel without wings.
Did Buddha say that or you made it up or you found it on the
Without a
internet?
penis.
I found it in-
Like
Who
an
said
angel
this?
without a wing.
Yeah, bro. Like it's not nice.
Isn't that a bad thing?
No, come on, man. Thing is, you have whatever I was referred
A
to.
penis.
Penis, pretty
just
much.
say it, bro.
Man, it's a family podcast.
Fair,
My mom
my
listens to
bad.
this. My mom listens to
Pee-pee.
Pee-pee, yeah. So my mom. Okay. So anyway, so I know much more about it than a female would. Transgender would know both ways around.
Do you know what a transgender is? Bro, I don't think so you know what a transgender is.
What do you mean?
No,
What
do you
mean?
know what is a transgender in your like understanding of the
I'm
world?
going to Google this real quick. Denoting or relating to a person whose sense of personal identity and gender does not correspond with their birth sex.
I don't
So
know
when
what
you're
that means.
born-
Can you simplify
Yeah, when you're born,
Mm-hmm.
they look at your genitals and say either you're a male or a female. That's what they designate you as.
Yep.
But internally, because of genetics or like your chromosomes or it could be other factors as well, you identify yourself as the opposite sex. So what transgender people do is they either transition over time, but some, it's a very expensive process to go through to transition.
What do you mean, bro?
That's-
Soy milk is $4.50 and a coffee.
No, there's a difference between
No, bro,
drinking soy milk.
this is why I have a problem with gender reveals, right? It's either blue or it's pink.
Yeah.
Now, my first problem is it's not a gender reveal because the baby hasn't decided its gender yet.
Yes.
Shit.
It's a sex reveal.
Yes.
No, but
So
it's a
what's the
sex
difference?
reveal.
Sorry.
Yeah, like they classify wrongly, but it is essentially a sex
Okay.
reveal. So if
Yeah.
they find out that it's a boy, it's based on the genitals, nothing else.
Yeah.
So when you were born,
Mhm.
the doctor would have went, looks like a dude.
I don't know, man. I don't know about that.
He knows me very well.
Certain people, they're born with like ambiguous genitals, so you can't really
What
tell.
does that entail? Like,
So
it's
their
not like a-
genitals haven't formed to a stage where you can...
Androgynous? Is that
and-
what they
No,
called?
androgynous.
Androgynous is something else. I don't know what it is, but
Alright.
it doesn't fit here. So their genitals, they can't recognize if it's a female or male.
Hermaphrodite.
I actually don't know what a hermaphrodite is. Like I think
there
those
was an athlete, a woman athlete who was that. I don't know what it's called.
a hermaphrodite. What did
I
she
don't
do?
know. They weren't sure whether she counted.
Oh,
there was
Caster Semenya?
controversy.
Caster Semenya? Like the South African runner?
No, I think it was American. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, Caster Semenya was a similar issue as well. With her, she was born a female, so she had female genitals, but when they tested her, she had extremely high testosterone.
Yeah.
So they speculated that she might have male genitalia. And when they tested her, she had testicles, but on the inside.
Bro, I swear it was
like,
androgynous.
Yeah, it was like something very weird like that.
So testicles, but she had like a whole female
She was
anatomy
female,
on
she's
top
female.
of like 2-in-1 situation. Like
Not 2-in-1, but as I was saying, like certain times your genitals they're not fully formed.
Let me just, he's making me sound stupid, right?
Okay, sure, come
He's
on.
Okay,
making me
I
sound
didn't know
stupid,
what the
right?
word androgynous
He's
meant.
making me sound
Okay,
stupid, right?
let me-
Androgynous, partly male and partly female in appearance, of indeterminate sex.
No, but
androgynous
that's
could be
just
Mulan
visually
situation,
though, right?
bro.
Isn't it? Is it
Nah,
based
as
on
in-
genitals or no?
Nah, androgynous could be just a guy that is
Looks
he
feminine.
looks like a female, like
Yeah.
Mulan or that kind of situation.
Mulan?
Yeah.
No, that was just a girl pretending to
Yeah,
be a
so
guy.
it could be like she obviously
Oh.
had a male situation.
yeah.
Having
on.
the physical characteristics of both sexes, hermaphrodite. That's 2 out of 2, boys.
Okay, you got me. Bro, you work in health. You should know more than me.
I'm learning
I
in
work
this
with
shit,
numbers.
bro.
I don't know about this stuff. I just know ones and zeros.
I work in numbers too. Just
No, you
in
don't.
health. Yes, I do.
Okay, whatever. let me actually start the podcast the way I wanted to start it. Okay, before we get into transgender athletes,
Dictator.
do you guys find it? Am I a dictator? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Sorry, master. Come on.
Okay. Do you guys understand why we have designations of male sports and female sports?
Because females can't compete in male sports, pretty much. That's why.
Is that straightforward as that, right?
Do you think that will be a controversial take?
What? No, it shouldn't be. Why? Like,
Bro,
no
I-
women or
some
no.
people
Some people find it weird.
Who are these people?
Not naming names, bro.
Yeah,
Name
for sure.
someone.
No.
Is
Alright,
it you?
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So you guys don't find it at all like difficult to say that? Like it's not something that's like groundbreaking for you.
But it's like saying like there's no sun outside right now. There is sun outside.
But sun's inside.
Shit.
Okay. But for
But
people
like
that are
that's
skeptical, what do
denying
you
biology. That's denying God. That's denying Buddha.
Buddha, bro.
Buddha.
Bro. Firstly, he misquoted Buddha and he disrespected Buddha by saying,
Come
what was
on,
the quote
man.
again?
I don't know, bro. A woman without a penis
Venus
is an
is
angel
like an
without
angel
wings.
without wings.
Bro, why do
How profound is that?
Why do I remember this? I want to delete this. Bro.
So have you guys ever done like mixed sports?
Yes.
Yeah. I was in a team this past season, unisex soccer.
I think like at the elite level, mixed sports, like it doesn't make sense. Like women can't compete physically with men, so it doesn't make sense
Yeah,
for
of
that to
course,
happen.
Of course.
But casually, I think it's actually beneficial if you do mixed gender sports.
I
Like
agree.
at a young age, like if
I
you're
agree.
a kid growing up,
Not even
until
a young age, bro. Adults, it's fun, unisex.
Yeah,
Like
true.
sometimes there has to be rules put in place where it's like, oh, it has to be 2 girl passes or
Yeah, I
two.
hate that part of
I
it.
don't mind it. Like it's just a way to make it still fun.
yeah,
At the end of the day,
'cause
everyone
say you're
plays-
playing soccer
Mhm.
and there's no rules and there's 9 girls versus like a team of like 10 guys and 1 girl. That's not fair then.
I think mandating is issue any situation. It should be
No, bro. In a social comp, it doesn't matter.
Come on, man.
If it's
We're struggling to find.
No, I think he just wants to meet more girls, but that's his thing.
Nah, like I'm saying the opposite right now.
He's
You're-
saying there shouldn't be rules that make it easier for
Bobby,
girls.
get
to
your
compete
mind out
against
of whatever
Okay.
websites you go on. What are they?
Speaking about, I don't
LinkedIn?
know if this was social,
Uh-huh.
but last year, netball. You guys have seen netball, right?
No,
It's
not
like
really.
a lesser version of basketball.
men. Oh yeah,
essentially,
yeah.
yeah.
No.
I don't want to.
Of course.
Lesser
of
might
course.
offend.
I was born on netball field, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, true.
It's a
So
court.
netball, there was a competition in Queensland.
Uh-huh.
Well, netball is predominantly played by females, right?
Yeah.
So they had a competition where to grow the engagement of male athletes, they just said, oh, for this like under 18s competition, we're going to allow males to participate. What they were, I think, hoping for is like 5 guys and like the rest of the team is girls, okay, essentially play. But this other team inserted a full team of 4 males, right? And they dominated. They won by like an average margin of like 30 goals.
Yeah.
Okay, when the final was happening, the all female team, it was all male team final. Okay, so there was no guys in the female team either. They're playing. Obviously, the girls get destroyed. And these guys, they say,
Why do you say obviously, man? Like this is the
you
mentality.
just said it's based on
Nah,
biology,
man, I
bro.
was just being-
Why are you blaming it on
I was
me?
just joking, bro. But
Okay.
for me, I was
Okay,
just
not
joking.
obviously, but the guys played really well,
Well,
and
no,
they ended up beating
you
the
said
girls.
it already, bro. You said it. You said what your heart's
Okay.
saying. I'm rude.
Obviously, the guys team
misogynistic
ended up
A-ball,
beating
bro.
the
Like,
girls
okay,
teams,
sure.
okay, by like a score of like 52 to like 19. I'm amazed the girls team even scored 19.
Why?
Whoa. What's
Man,
going
you
on
are a
here?
true
So
oink oink
then
simulator. today.
after the competition ended, the whole media and like the competition team, they were like, why was this allowed?
Yeah.
Like, why were they allowed a full guys team to work
Yeah.
against a girls team? And then they were like, you're complaining too late. Like, you should have done this way before.
Yeah.
Like, we were allowed, we were within the
It's
rules.
all losers, bro. It's all losers.
And then the guys
Like,
team
do
were
you
like,
think all women are soul losers or these particular ones?
These particular ones.
these particular ones that
nice,
complained
nice.
about it. Yeah.
Nice. Or just
That's-
testing, man.
Yeah, that's the story I wanted to share,
Fair
essentially.
enough.
So there's going to be something more profound behind it, like a moral of the story.
The moral of the story is don't put guys in a girls'
The moral of
competition.
the story is mandates things, bro. Put rules in.
Yeah, there needs to be rules.
Shit,
You
okay,
can't
I
just
agree.
allow.
Bro, he's contradicting himself like every second point of the podcast. There's a site called boysvswomen.com, right?
I'm amazed that
sounds
you know
sus, man.
about this, bro.
No, honestly, I went down
Is
a
this
rabbit.
like- is this
I went
like,
down a rabbit hole on YouTube last night.
Is this like a worldstar.com type website where they just have
No.
videos of girls fighting guys?
That would be pretty funny.
Yeah,
But anyway,
let's make it happen.
Bro, what's funny about violence?
violence is funny. If it doesn't affect you directly, it's funny.
Yeah, when two people fight and they're swinging like crazy, it's always fun to
Yeah,
watch
bro.
that. Yeah.
Russia versus Ukraine is pretty funny. Bro.
Anyway, keep going.
Team Russia.
Keep going, keep going.
Boys versus women, right?
Yeah.
And it has the times of 2016 NBNO, which is some national competition in America,
Yeah.
which is a high school competition.
Mm-hmm.
It has the finalists from all the different track and field events, the times and records or whatever, and
Yep.
whatever they scored. And then in that same year, 2016, Olympic finalists,
True. Yeah.
it compares the two.
Mm.
So for females and for female Olympic finalists and male high school boys.
Yeah.
And in almost all of them, man, I looked at the first couple, 100 meter, 200 meter. It's just it puts them all in order. So as if it's a race between 16 people, 8 females, 8 males.
Yep.
The fastest Olympic female is always 9th.
Out of like the boys are like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
8 boys are beating her still.
Yeah. 8 high school boys
Yeah.
are beating her, which like just sort of paints the difference between males and females in
Yeah.
sports.
They had it with soccer as well. They had like a one national team from a country play like the high school team of a
A
country.
US team, and US,
US
team
team,
is the
and they got
best soccer
smacked,
team
bro.
ever.
Yeah.
It was smacked
Yeah.
like really badly.
In terms of female teams, like I would say best soccer team ever,
in
but it's the best soccer female team.
Yeah.
like, yeah.
you always have to make that.
I have to make a
designation.
disclaimer
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
And it's not offensive to do so. Like certain times they say about Serena Williams,
Yeah.
like she is the best tennis player of all time.
That kind of irks me, like the whole.
No, but she
debate.
herself said that if I competed against any of the males,
And
I
she
would
did
get destroyed.
But like
Yeah.
a lot of people, like she's obviously clever enough to realize the difference. But a lot of media
Like,
front
use that.
instigate the whole
Yeah.
situation.
They're like, oh, how can you say that? It's like because I play against them.
But even if that were true, and even if it is true, the fact that she is that and she's the exception just further tells you that the baseline that she's comparing to is all.
She's
Below
the exception
average.
to the rule. Like
Yeah.
that's why there's exceptions all the time.
Good point.
Yeah. Do you think there's a sport where men and women can compete against each
I think
other?
anything non-physical could be.
Chess.
Like I'm like thinking car racing.
Chess,
Why
yeah.
can't men and women
because women can't.
don't make a women
No,
can't
no,
drive
no.
joke, bro.
I don't know, right? There's
Okay,
a
and I
few
think-
women in my life.
I think it's a biology thing again, like in terms of facing
G-forces.
G-forces and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
True, yeah, could be that.
Because I was seeing Lewis Hamilton's routine for getting into shape for Formula One,
Yeah,
and he used to swim 50 k's every single day for weeks, and which is crazy to imagine.
yeah,
And
yeah, makes sense. Yeah, but like not Formula One. Like what other like there's other car races.
I think
like V8.
NASCAR,
Well-
Dakar Rally, they compete
They
together.
had Danica Patrick. Is that her name? She had she's a famous.
Not
female-
NASCAR, Dakar Rally women also compete with men.
Yeah, Danica Patrick, I think, was one of them. Or no, I don't know what her name is, but she is a female NASCAR driver, and she competed. I don't think she won anything ever, but she was competitive still. Like she still finished. So that golf, I don't consider to be a sport. I think men and women can compete.
No,
in
but the
that.
thing is, men
No,
can
but
swing harder.
Drive will be still big.
That's just my hatred for golf. I don't consider
What
golf to
about
be a
like
sport.
what about like lawn bowls or gymnastics? What about gymnastics?
No, that's one sport where women are actually better at men.
Except for obviously like rings and stuff, or like the ones that require more
Explosive,
upper body
yeah.
strength.
and
But in
stuff, yeah.
terms of like the flipping and the, I don't know about like.
There's certain movements with like the spins and stuff only females can do. Like the male body is not able to do and stuff.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so like those
I
are the
hate
ones they
men,
can do it.
Yeah, bro. Men are
But-
pigs, bro.
Yeah, pigs. Yeah.
Men are pigs. Is that what you're saying?
Oink oink, bro.
I thought at first you said men are peak, bro. I'm like, yeah, that's true as well. Men peak. Let's get
It's
into
misogynistic. Bro.
Yeah. Let's get into what we actually wanted to talk about. Like men and women is one thing, but there's a new sort of spanner being thrown into the works now with transgender athletes coming into mostly female sports, where a person that was born a male transitions into being a female and then joins a female
That's
sport.
because vice versa, they still wouldn't be able to compete.
Yeah, and then I was like trying to look like if there's been instances where a female has transitioned into being a male. I was about to say converted, but transitioned to being a male, and
What's
it
the
has been
difference?
successful
What's the
for them.
difference?
Alhamdulillah, brother.
Huh?
What?
Transition is like you were one thing and then you're transitioning. Converting is
evolved
like
into-
your.
Yeah.
It might mean the same thing, but it just sounds better saying
If
transition.
it's male to female, though, I think it's devolve.
Yeah, whatever.
So that guy's looking us funny right now. What the hell
but
are
yeah,
these three
that-
brown boys doing?
So the reason why I brought up this topic because it's in the news now, where there was this athlete in Penn State, which is a university in the US. There was this athlete called Lia Thomas, a male who was competing as a swimmer in his second year. Over the 2 years, so since 2019, that person started transitioning into being female.
Mm-hmm.
But they continued swimming
Sorry,
in that
when
time.
was that?
2019, they started
2019.
transitioning.
Alright.
2022, they became the #1 female swimmer, while they were like ranked 400 when they were male.
Yeah.
Why are you calling them they, man? She,
Bro,
if she, bro, she.
I've heard many interviews of her, and that's what she identifies at. Or
What?
they
No,
identify.
They-
come on, bro.
As a
I
they.
was just trying to test you, and you slipped there.
I didn't slip. You slipped.
Nah,
by
I
asking a
was
silly
happy. I
question.
was happy either way.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, this is what happened.
Bro, I think it was a good business move, man. Why?
For her-
Why
for
be
her.
400th ranked when you can be first?
Exactly, and then OnlyFans situation on
think-
top, like all them stuff. There's endless potential being a female.
Real talk, bro.
Yeah.
There was a picture. I might put it on the
And
on the podcast.
you don't want to mess with them
Raunchy
anyways.
or-
No, well, if you're into swimmers, maybe you find it raunchy. So they
Oh, yeah,
basically
bro.
they line up
boy.
on stage. They line up on stage. Obviously, she is first because she would finish.
They were first.
They were
come
first,
on,
and then the
bro.
other two female athletes, they're like second and third. But the size comparison between them, this person looks like a giant compared to them.
That's my main problem with transgender athletes. So I'm pretty sure NCAA ruling you have to be.
No, it's up to
One-
the schools, so that's what is the issue with.
No, but
NCAA.
NCAA is the governing body.
Yeah, but they've left up to the schools to decide who can.
That's
compete
stupid,
or
bro.
not.
Then obviously the
Because they
school
don't want
would
to take
want.
liability themselves.
Okay, maybe this was the international comp or
That
something.
would have been
But
international.
it's that they have to have 1 year of testosterone suppressing therapy, right?
Yeah.
And for past 36 months, they should test for 36 or 5 something. So there a level of testosterone in our bloods.
Yeah.
And for past 3 years, they should test below 36 or whatever the threshold was to qualify for female competitions.
Yeah.
But they changed it for this person. They said 3, but she hadn't transitioned yet. She hadn't been
I don't feel
transitioning
like
for
correcting
3.
you again. Please
Yeah.
call them they.
Okay,
Lia, ma'am. Lia,
they
ma'am.
hadn't been transitioning for 3 years. I'll say Lia. Lia hadn't
ma'am.
been transitioning for 3
Bro, you
years.
gotta respect them, bro.
Yeah, and then
Lia, ma'am.
NCAA
Come
just
on, bro.
went. NCAA just went. It is what it is. You're allowed to compete. So
Yeah.
the rules allowed this person,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Lia, to compete. They didn't, like force their way in a way to do it. So it's not their fault that they're in this situation. But swimming, I can it is what it is. Like I don't watch swimming, so I'm not like really affected by it.
Come on, bro. That's like saying like you said it's not their fault, right?
Yeah.
That's like saying like James Harden, like he's how he like flops and gets all these fouls and kicks out and gets all these
Yeah.
fouls.
Yeah.
It's not his fault the rules allow him to do that, but it's still a
Well,
shit
the
thing
rule-
to do.
Yeah, but the rules allow him to do it still.
Yeah, but it ruins the game.
That's what the thing is. Like it's not his fault that the rules allow him to do it. He's taking advantage of the
But
rules
he's
that are in place.
abusing the rules.
How is he abusing it if it exists that it
by
allows him to do
hooking
it?
people and ruining the beautiful game of basketball.
Bro, come on, don't worry about this stupid sport.
Yeah.
Back to
Anyway, if this started happening in a sport where mass people watch, like if this started happening in soccer and maybe basketball or like
NASCAR.
cricket or whatever, it would become more of a story. At the moment, it's like restricted to like Olympic sports or like swimming and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then people don't really pay attention to those unless it's the Olympics.
Yeah.
So
See, I don't think this will be a problem in this will be a problem in soccer too.
No,
imagine like
no, one of the things is that no one watches women's sports as much as major sports. So the thing is, like, if a male transitions to a female,
This could be a good thing for females if there was more transgender females. like-
true, bro.
Imagine basketball.
You can prop up the WNBA with
WNBA,
male to female.
LeBron
people.
James, if he transitions,
Yeah, bro, this will get the SJWs cooking, bro. They'll be like, there's one button, allow transgenders to play in their identified gender,
yeah.
and then there'll be another button, ruin female sports.
Well, it will ruin female sport because
Yeah.
like no female will be able to compete.
Yeah, and then the females aren't getting like their money, or they're not going to be able to do.
No,
anything
they're
'cause-
losing out on sports because there's limited spots on
Exactly.
an NBA team. There's
Exactly.
limited
So
spots
what,
So it's
everywhere
like two
what would
buttons.
enable them to play in this situation? Like, let's make a pathway for them.
for
Well,
transgender
One
athletes.
solution would be to have transgender only sports, which will give everyone a medal. Because there aren't that many transgenders, but you want to enable them to have a life they want to live.
Have you ever met a transgender person?
Yes, actually. I used to work with them
Here.
in Australia. I
Yeah.
used to work with them at Macca's, and I was the only person that asked them what situation they had down there.
Is that how you asked the first? Is that how you?
no, so we used to
How
work
did you
together.
phrase the question?
So I was like, I was like, I'm really curious. Everyone thinks of this is what I actually said.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks of it, and no one actually says it. But I was nice to them, like
Yeah.
nice to everyone.
Yeah.
But I was nice to them. Like I was like, "What's the situation down there?" and
What's the situation, Deb?
I don't know if that's the best way to ask it,
and
but
like she said,
you asked
"You're the
it.
only guy that's ever asked me."
Yeah.
I'm like, other people have this in their mind.
As long as they were comfortable answering it.
Like
yeah.
they were like. So
it doesn't sound like they were
Alright,
comfortable.
well, what did they say?
What did they say?
So we never addressed that whole situation because I felt it was, and I shouldn't have said that, but I had to transition.
No, but did
into-
you get a conclusive answer for them?
I think it was a male situation going on.
No, they say I'm male.
Nah,
Was it male to female?
male to female.
Okay.
Yes.
The thing is, like in Pakistan, there's a lot of people who are transgender. What do we call them?
Hijra.
Hijras over there.
I've actually read a
Uh,
book about this.
Maybe.
Because there's a lot in India as well. I'm assuming
And
there
the kind
might
of
be.
stuff you do to interact with Bobby, man. Next level, bro.
I'm glad you're reading.
True
bro.
friend.
I'm glad you're reading. Anyway, so what happened is in Pakistan, India, and they have a community called Hijras. But because I think it's because it's expensive or like not possible for them to transition because they don't have the facilities to do so. Even though they're born with male genitalia, they identify as female. They're not able to transition to being full female.
Yeah.
So in the Indian subcontinents, they've basically identified them as a third gender. So they're not even female or male. They're called hijras, which is a completely different gender for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, over here that wouldn't work. Like it's either needs to be male or female, but like then we can transition because we have the facilities to do so over here. So that makes it slightly different.
We need to address like for these people that are obviously transgender.
Yeah.
And they feel like they wanna. Sport is a part of their personality.
Yeah, for them it is. Yeah.
Then how do they end up?
Bro,
It's
just you don't
tricky.
have to compete at a national or state level or anything, man. Just do
No,
it
but what if
socially.
that's their ambition?
Well, then
Like
what other then compete with the males? I don't understand.
Yeah.
You've got all the anatomical like differences. Like you've got like the longer wingspan,
Yeah,
bigger
that's something we
hands,
haven't
longer
talked
legs.
about. The reason why they're not able to compete, or reason why it's unfair, is because for majority of their life they had high testosterone, they had the growth spurt of a male, they had the benefits of being male, bigger lung capacity, more
Exactly.
strength, whatever. And then they transition for 2 years. They still have that bone structure. They still have that muscle strength.
The lung
but-
capacity, the heart.
Yeah, their testosterone might be low, but they've benefited from being male for those many years. That makes it unfair when they're competing against females now. Remember, have you heard of Fallon Fox? UFC fighter, was born male. At the age of mid-20s, they decided to transition to being female. But when you look at Fallon Fox, they had the sort of the build of a male, but they were competing against females. And the first fight, they didn't declare that they were transgender, or somehow like there was like very lax rules in the UFC at the time. And
so what kind of shorts was they wearing?
regular shorts, like they were like
Because male and female have different shorts for your information.
they were skin
like,
tight, skin tight,
skin
yeah,
tight.
yeah.
So there was no situation going down.
Like no, I don't even know if they no. What the thing was, they had already started transitioning, so they
But
were
like
they were
so
taking.
What happens in transitioning? Is it like a chop off scene and then you?
No,
start from
you don't even
scratch
have to
or-
chop off. You don't even have to chop off. You
I
just
think it just suppressed.
suppress your testosterone, or
No,
you,
but like the whole situation that is.
you can still have
existing
male
situation.
genitalia,
Uh-huh.
but you recognize yourself as a female. So,
But-
you're still considered.
So is it like an active working situation, or is
No,
it
I
like?
think it's different for.
I don't know what.
transgender,
Yeah, I
'cause
don't know
I
what,
think-
what you're
Was it like
suggesting.
I think there is an option to like. I don't know what they
Like
do.
you know
but-
when your leg like if you frostbite, it's dead situation. What is it like? Is it? Are
So
they
he's
actively-
asking like if the male genitalia still works. I don't know the answer. Maybe
I don't
we
want to Google it either,
Maybe
bro.
we should have got a transgender person on the podcast.
We
Oh, wait,
ev-
no,
Nah, nah, bro, that's the
Every-
kind of talk we don't make that. approach.
every time we do a topic, we're like, maybe we should have gotten someone an expert. But that's the whole point of this podcast. We just give our trashy opinions. Anyway, so this Fallon Fox person actually ended up punching the person and cracked their skull, the female.
Oh,
And that's when they figured out
shit.
that she was, born a male, whatever the situation was. Then they asked the UFC, why did you allow it? They were like, that was within our rules. She had gone through the process, whatever the case was. But that made it unfair. And then,
So what's the test for it? Like, do you check people's junk, or is it like? Because no one would check ever. Like,
so for Castus and many other runner we were talking about earlier, they actually did a sex test. So that's how they found out that they
like
had,
what does sex test mean? Like, do they grab it?
bro, like you basically go to like a gynecologist and they test you out. So it's kind of invasive in that sense. But
And what makes someone trigger you to do that? Because I'm sure most of the girls and guys would never get tested for this.
if they have high testosterone, they were like, or maybe
Okay, so they
yeah.
test for testosterone, and
first,
if
that's the first step. Then they go into whatever the next step is. Then they start. Then now that what they're saying is like, as long as you have a testosterone level which is within the range,
Yeah.
you're allowed to compete, regardless of the fact that you were born a male and benefited from being male for so long.
Is there anyone else in Olympics that is?
Laura Hubbard is this New Zealand like weightlifter, born a male, transitioned to female. She competed, but the thing with her was she sucked.
couldn't lift. Yeah, she couldn't.
She
lift
sucked.
it, yeah.
Like she wasn't that good an example to set. So yeah, it didn't work for her.
So it's a good example of transgender in general. Then,
What do you mean?
like, if she couldn't lift, that makes it seem like being transgender doesn't give you this OP.
I think it will depend on the sport because
Yeah.
in weightlifting, like having a larger frame, or at least larger. Actually, depends on what lift it is. But for example, in swimming, like having longer arms and longer legs,
Bigger
has-
shoulders, broader shoulders
it
helps.
gives you
lung capacity helps. Yeah.
it gives you a better lever so you can produce more force. So it's like
I would be
100%
surprised to
like,
find there wouldn't be many sports where you wouldn't have a competitive advantage.
Yeah, but like for weightlifting specifically, it depends on what if it's the clean and jerk or something. I'm not actually sure, but for example, bench having a shorter arms is actually more helpful.
But muscle fibers would be a big factor to it, though.
Yeah, and men have more ratio of
Ye-
genetically more ratio of
I don't know what the portion of a body is, but I'm guessing men
fast
like
twitch fibers, yeah.
Well, I don't know the answers for transgender people. You were saying like if they had like a all transgender sport, would that make sense? Or
The
would
thing
that
is,
be
I don't
possible?
know many I don't know any transgender person in my life apart from one person I met randomly.
Yeah.
So we can't make a sport out of it either.
I know. I think they should just compete with males.
But then they would get demolished because they wouldn't have as much testosterone
Well,
as a.
You can't let them demolish females, and unless you have a transgender specific.
Yeah, what is more unfair, like them destroying female athletes or them at least being competitive?
But why, if they identify as females, why should they be messing with males? First of all,
Because sports is about like sports is like the, like it
I'm
needs to
arguing
be
for the sake of it.
Yeah,
bro.
yeah, I know you are. Like you obviously agree as well, but like sports is the only field where like you need a level playing field.
Bro.
I don't know what the answer is for transgender people to like compete. Obviously there needs to be rules, as we were discussing earlier. There needs to be rules about these things. You can't just be like allow anyone to compete because then it's on a level playing field. But we're not the persons to come up with the answers.
I think
for
the
this.
number of people that have ambitions to compete, like at national levels and things that are transgender, are very, very, very few. And so I don't.
We should
think
give them incentive, bro.
What do
to
you- Why
compete.
would you incentivize people to change genders?
Why not? man?
This is not a decision they make on finance, bro. They make it for a personal, like, you know.
Like
that's what they feel.
transgender people would be lonely, so they need someone else. to
How?
be-
How do you know this?
I'm making shit up, bro. Like, you
Obviously
don't
you
ask
are.
this kind of critical questions.
You sometimes you just say things and you're like, why did I say this, bro? Anyway, yeah, we don't know the answers, but it is an interesting debate. Let's see what happens. Obviously, it just hadn't happened recently. Let's see what happens in the future. Maybe we will see more transgender male athletes going into female sports.
I think we're
what it
going in
is.
cycles now.
We're going in cycles. Anyway, we don't know the answers. This is the Trash Talk Experience. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please follow us on our Instagram, and you can watch us on Spotify, YouTube, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. Thank you, Son and Trey. Peace to all the transgenders. Love.